Hello and welcome to a new episode of our program, The World Today. I'm Dr. Yasmin Bakir and I'll be joining you in with our guest here in the studio to shed more light on what is happening around the world through the eyes of the local, regional and international newspapers. I'm very much delighted to have joining us here in the studio Mr. Mohamed Farag, who is a political analyst. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. It's always a pleasure, and it's also a good opportunity and chance to see from your analytical perspective what is happening around the world today. We will start off with Egypt's independent, and locally here in Egypt, Ismail seeks to reassure the member of parliament over handling of the currency crisis. Egyptian Prime Minister Chief Ismail had told the parliament on Monday that the government was working with the central bank to bring an end to the disparity between the official and parallel market in the exchange rate of the Egyptian pounds. Of course, everybody's following up on the social media and the different forms of media on the accelerating, unbelievable increase of the currency rate in the, and particularly the dollar market compared with the market, the official market here in Egypt. Also, the parliament was concerned about the increase in price hikes in general between commodities and goods in the Egyptian market, and the lack of control on whoever is responsible for regulating these prices. They are missing quantities or the exceeding demand over the supply that is supposed to be available but is not, such as the sugar. So all these things are in reaction to and reflection to what people on the streets are speaking about. However, Sharif Ismail did assure that the government is exerting all its efforts and that it is controlling or trying to contain and control the situation. From your perspective, how far was Sharif Ismail's statements sort of a comfort, or did bring some kind of a comfort to the members of parliament that, okay, there is a chance, just give these people a space to work hard, or no, it is alarming, so maybe other parties should interfere to control the situation?
Okay, well, the Prime Minister mentioned the government is already work with the central bank to solve this problem, but actually for us and for Parliament, and it's not enough. I think it's not enough. As you said, the problem, we have two problems with dollar, with this currency. The problem first is the price is unstable. You don't, today you have two prices.
Exactly, two markets.
No. You have two prices in the parallel market, on black market. Price at tomorrow, at morning, good morning, what is the price of the dollar?
Yes.
And at evening, good evening, what is the price?
And it depends when you want to buy your commodity, in the morning or in the evening, that would the price differ.
You have two prices in the black market. You have two prices in the morning and in the evening. This is one of the problems. And the other problem is the availability of the currency. I'm accepting this price, but I don't have, I cannot find it. This effect on all life in market and in projects. That means Mr. Mohamed al-Swedi, one of the most important industrial persons in Egypt, he said the project is stopped because I cannot buy machines, I cannot buy...
Actually, I wanted to ask you something like that as well, concerning, I mean, the lack of the imported goods and their lack of presence here in Egypt, and the market, generally speaking, is you can't find anymore the imported goods that you're used to buying, even if it's household goods or personal things, clothing and so forth. Everybody, again, is talking about the dollar. Is that really the issue, or do you think it's more than that? It's a pressure from the businessmen and from the people who run the businesses against the government because of them in favor, of course, of the black market or the parallel market, because it does bring more revenues. Otherwise, I mean, and that's why the prices are hiked up, generally speaking.
But I don't think for the businessmen, they do pressure. Maybe you have a pressure from the currency, the exchange companies. But for the businessmen and the project and the industrial fields, they don't have pressure. They only want, what they need is the availability of the currency, because they don't have, for the crisis of the sugar, the problem, as the government said, the private sector didn't buy sugar because they didn't have dollars, and the price is very exceed. But this is a problem. I don't think there is a pressure. Regardless of the pressure, we don't know what is the reasons.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you. Why is it difficult to resolve the problem? If you have two parallel markets and they're working on a very wide range of pricing,
if there is a pressure,
why is it
yes,
difficult for you to regulate
yes,
them?
if there is a pressure, the Prime Minister should mention, but he didn't mention any pressure from anyone. He just mentioned we will solve with cooperation of central bank. Today, central bank, I said he supplies $1 billion in the market for the banks with the same price. I think this fixed price 8.8 is a problem for the government. He buying the dollars with this price. Why you didn't change it?
But they changed it, sir. They changed it a couple of months ago. It was not at that rate. They had to increase it to meet somehow the black market. But the black market or the parallel market, whatever they call it, is exceeding every day, increasing without control. Who is responsible for controlling this market?
The government should answer this question. I don't know.
Especially that it's an illegal market. See, that's yes, what's strange about it. It's an illegal market, and it continues to accelerate, and it's affecting the economy. So we don't really understand.
Today, if you wanted to buy a dollar, you will not go to the exchange company.
Exactly.
You will go to.
And even if you go to the bank, you can't release dollars except with certain regulations and very strict rules, and you can't exchange either. So you're not giving people this opportunity to actually go through the legal means or channels. Maybe that's why the black market is abusing this aspect.
It's required action.
But the Sheikh Ismail did promise that he's going to resolve it, so I assume we just have to
but it's required the quick action from central bank to manage this problem.
Yeah. Before we wrap up here, you said that the central bank said he was going to pump 2 billion?
1 billion.
1 billion. Is that some kind of a painkiller to just sort of buy time until the government resolves its problem? Because what can this 1 billion do in terms of the black market? Is it going to reduce the rate? Is it going to keep it stable on its current increased rate for a certain period of time? What would it do?
But I think supplying is the demand on the required from some other banks for the required stuffs and required goods. This is not related. But already, as I know, as per my information, the government is working to solve the problem.
Yes, well, let's hope it will be solved, because everything is price hiked and everything that is imported is not found. So
we hope
if
the problem will be solved by the loan.
Yes. Let's go to another area, another story in the region. We're moving to Lebanon, and of course, their political problem that has finally been resolved. According to the Daily Star of Lebanon, Lebanon's Harb calls on Aoun to form a majority government. Of course, we do know that the telecommunications minister, Boutros Harb, Tuesday called on the newly elected Lebanese president, Michel Aoun, to work on the formation of a majority government, as a national unity government has only proven to be a failure. Now, we do know that Lebanon has been struggling with the vacuum of a presidency for a long month, and also the struggle formation of a national unity government, and it was actually to a surprise on how civilized the Lebanese people were to be able to live with that political vacuum for a very long time without a mess and without security threats and so forth. Now that Michel Aoun is the president of Lebanon, where many people were in favor, actually thought it was about time that he actually leads the country, how far do you think that would further add or change to the stability or the political status of Lebanon?
Actually, it's a good movement from the infights politicals.
Especially that it's very complicated in Lebanon.
But by the end, they agreed to elect a new president, because the regional forces which back each one is busy in Syria, in Iran and Saudi Arabia and others is already busy. So they agreed they have to elect a new. I think they was waiting the result of the war in Syria, but no end on to this war. So they agreed to elect. The next step is I think they will designate a new prime minister, which is most probably will be Mr. Saad al-Hariri.
Yes, because I mean that's the way they have a Christian president and a Sunni Muslim prime minister.
The prime minister
and then the
is
head
Sunni
of the parliament
Muslim, yes, and the head of parliament Shia.
Shia, so I think that's the way they divide it over there.
It's also
the constitution.
Regardless this, but they agreed. It seems there is agreement with Michel Aoun and Mr. Saad al-Hariri he will be the president, and Saad al-Hariri will be the prime minister. And it's good for the stability of the country. And because it's 2 years victim of the presidency, make lack of the basic services in Lebanon.
Yes, of course.
And also,
and that's why I said the Lebanese people were very civilized to be able to cope this long.
But they have problems. They have major problem in the basic services, and also they have political problems with many countries in the region. They have by this solution, Michel Aoun and Saad al-Hariri, regional forces will be comfortable.
Yeah, it seems to be like a very strategic, clever choice. So that's interesting.
Yeah, Michel Aoun with some parts and Saad al-Hariri with some parts, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's going to do that balance thing. Okay, let's move to another story at the Gulf News, and this time we take you to what's happening in Mosul in Iraq. So Iraq forces advance into Mosul for the first time since the campaign. Of course, during the past few weeks, we were talking about the struggle of the Iraqi forces trying to retake Mosul from Daesh, and it seems that they are there on first ground. Maybe it might require a certain number of weeks before the second phase of the other forces would come to completely have full control of Mosul. But fighters from the Hashid al-Sha'bi, which is also known as the Popular Mobilization, advanced towards the village of Salmani, south of Mosul, during the ongoing battle against the Daesh to liberate it from them. And we're talking about Mosul here. The Battle of Mosul will not be a picnic, according to Hadi al-Amiri, who is the leader of the Badr organization, and that is the largest Shiite militia fighting with Iraqi forces in the southern front line. So maybe we're seeing for the first time that despite the different ethnic breaks that are in Iraq, yet they have all come together along with one target and under one aim, which is to fight Daesh out of Mosul because, of course, of the strategic importance of Mosul. Now, many people would say, well, that's the normal case. We're used to this chess game. They let us in now, a couple of weeks they'll let us out, they'll kick us out, then we'll try to retake it again. Will that continue in that path, or do you think that having the Iraqi forces put their hands on the ground of Mosul is one step towards threatening, making Daesh weaker, strengthening the Iraqi forces and making Daesh weaker?
Okay.
What do you think?
I think today is the first time the Iraqi forces put foot actually in Mosul. As you said, many forces are together, Hashd al-Sha'bi and the Peshmerga and the Iraqi forced army, all together against Daesh. Today also Mr. Haider al-Abadi visited already some free villages before Mosul.
Yes.
He did. But I think the battle will take more than months. Will not finish. As he said, it's not a big.
Yes, but the Iraqi forces taking Mosul, is that a sign of a weak status for Daesh today, or it's not calculated this way, or it's not seen this way?
Not calculated, because they already have a route with Syria. And this is what Al-Hajj al-Sha'bi is telling. They want to attack the east part of Mosul. We cannot say the Daesh will finish by this battle, but also they be preparing another battle in Raqqa.
Speaking of Syria, actually, it's a very interesting article published in the World Bulletin today. Turkey, Russia signing a landmark agreement on Syria, and it seems to be that the start of dividing the region into little regions is actually going to start from there. So it was very interesting because according to that article, the high-level government sources have spoken to the newspaper saying that a new map will be drawn including Aleppo, Idlib, Latakia, Raqqa, and Al-Hasaqa, as well as Deir ez-Zor provinces of the country. Now, the essence of this deal will reportedly allow Turkey-backed forces to enter Aleppo, and Assad's forces will be withdrawing from the city. So the pre-war demographic structure would be taken as the base of this project. In return, Turkey and Russia will not accept, of course, the PKK terror corridor in northern Syria, which aimed in including Al-Hasaqa, Tal Abyad, Ain al-Arab, Jarablus, Al-Rai, Aziz, Maria, and Afrin under the name of the Federation. So Are we actually seeing Syria really being on the front line of turning into federations to sort of reduce the humanitarian crisis, or under the umbrella of reducing the humanitarian crisis? Because many expected to see that kind of federation division in the region somewhere in Libya or in Yemen at first. But now we are seeing Turkey and Russia coming up with this kind of a plan, which I don't know, but in my very humble opinion is very much going to be aside with the United States' interests of dividing the Middle East region into smaller federations. Yet the fight remains, of course, on each country's interest and grudges. For instance, Turkey has grudges from the Kurds and their fear and threat from them increasing or expanding. How do you see that image over there on the screen?
I think this plan, I don't know exactly how they agreed about this plan, but I think it's not accepted. And Turkey is playing a dangerous game in Syria.
But Russia is also taking a role in that as well.
Yes,
so.
maybe they take, but I think it's not accepted. And I think what is the situation of what the Assad regime said about this plan? I don't know. There is no news about that. But the problem is a plan of Turkey.
Maybe they're still in shock because,
yes,
I mean,
maybe.
Assad
I don't
is not there
know.
for the sake of dividing the country into little federations.
Yes, but the main problem is not accepted to any foreign forces to be in Syria. The Russian forces under control or under agreement with Syrian government, but Turkey forces with no control or no agreement with.
Well, they have excuse because the Kurds are bothering them all the way from the borders.
No, but not. I think yes, they have many reasons, Kurdish and or Daesh, but at the end, I think they wanted to take some parcels take some part from Syria, and still there. You have many years until anyone can ask them what you are doing here, or what you're doing in my country.
All right. Well, we're going to have to take a closer look at this map, of course, in the future, hoping that we won't have to see this very similar image be repeated in other countries.
But in Aleppo, I think also this plan is waiting the new U.S. administration.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
well, that was a story that we just didn't
yes.
have time to speak about today, but of course, it will be the talk of everybody in the world's hour.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us once again, Mr. Mohamed Farag, political analyst, for joining us and for your insight on our program. And ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our edition of The World Today. Thank you very much for watching.